So what finish line are you chasing right now? And what if instead of racing to arrive, you saw it as a new starting point? How would you show up differently? How would you show up differently at home? How would you show up differently in your business? How would you show up differently in your relationships? How would you show up differently for yourself? Because that shift, that's where the freedom lives. It really is. Welcome to Remix Moments with Martine, where we will remix your mindset one moment at a time. I'm your host, Martine Williams, and I'm here to bring you a quick burst of inspiration, insight, and a fresh spin on your mompreneur journey. In just a few minutes, we'll remix your mindset, energize your day, and keep you moving forward with purpose. Let's dive in to today's moment. Hey friends, and welcome back to Life Coaching for Mompreneurs. I'm Martine Williams, your host. If this is your first episode of listening to the podcast, welcome to our community. Welcome to this show. And I've been in the middle of kind of sharing a current season that I'm in with my mother-in-law as her primary caregiver. She has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And so if you're just diving in, then and you've listened to some of the other episodes, then you've been on this journey with me. But if you're brand new to the podcast, then some of that will be a part of this episode too. But I wanted to kind of, I wouldn't say take a break, but there's been a common theme that has come up with really with some peer coaching that I've been doing inside the mastermind that I'm in, really previous to this new season that we just have come into with my mother-in-law. But I shared with one of the coaches that's in this mastermind with me. She's a young mom, and she was talking about and wanted to receive some coaching on. She's like, I just feel like I'm rushing all the time. I'm rushing from, my morning workouts to rushing to spend some time with my daughter. And then I'm rushing to do my coaching. And then I'm rushing to finish up that so I can get back with my daughter. Then I'm rushing, like everything was just a rush, rush, rush. And I said to her, there's no finish line, just a new starting point. So today I wanted to share that truth with you too, that there is no finish line. There's just a new starting point. And that might just change the way you see your business, your goals, and your life. So again, there is no finish line. There are only new starting points. And I don't remember where I heard that years ago, but that has really, really stuck with me because I've always said, like, you never arrive in business, right? There's always new things to learn, new things to grow in. And when you think about it, that's true for all areas of our life. We never fully arrive. And when you think you've arrived, you're actually in trouble, I think, because that means you're not growing. You're not taking that time to learn something new. And so when I said that to her, it really just kind of, I could see the calm come over her face because in the rushing and in the hurrying, it was like, I need to hurry up and get there, like wherever there is, that finish line that she had set for herself, whatever that looked like. And so it was keeping her in this rush, 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 hurry, hurry, hurry mode. And so when I told her that, she was like, oh, I can take a deep breath. I'm like, yeah. I mean, if you're constantly running to the finish line and not realizing there are just new starting points. There's just always something, a new way to begin. And most of us live in a finish line mentality. We think once I hit this rank, or once I make X amount of dollars, or once my kids are older, or once I get through this season, or, you fill in the blank there, then you may say like, then finally I'll rest, right? Or then I'll feel proud, or then I'll be happy. But here's the problem. The finish line keeps moving, right? Because if you are a highly ambitious entrepreneur, there's always something you're going to be striving for. There is no finish line. And as soon as you cross one goal, another pops up. And instead of feeling fulfilled, you feel exhausted, like you're always running, but never arriving. And a really profound thing that my coach said, I want to say it was probably a year ago. She said, be in the result that you just created. Give yourself the time to actually be in the result of what you just created. And that was really profound for me because I am always looking to the next thing and I don't give myself the time to be in the moment of what I just created. Now we talk about celebrating your wins, and that's a piece of it. Like just celebrating, like looking back and saying, wow, look at how far I've come and what I've accomplished. But actually like just embodying, like, and allowing yourself to feel proud, to feel excited, to feel accomplished, to feel just amazing in that moment, and being able to just be fully present in the result that you just created versus running all the time, but never arriving. So some things maybe you've tried, or I know I've tried, and why it feels empty is, again, maybe you've just tried to continue to push harder to get to that next level faster, rushing, like my peer is doing, or telling yourself like, once I get there, then I'll slow down, or once I get there, I will allow myself to celebrate. Or maybe just chasing goal after goal, hoping that this one will finally make you feel like enough. If I just get here, then I'll finally feel like enough. But the truth is that each finish line just reveals a new race, right? And if your identity and joy are tied only to the outcomes, you'll always be sprinting and never savoring, never allowing yourself to sit in the result that you just created. So the solution is to see each goal as a starting point. What if you stopped chasing finish lines and started seeing each milestone as a new beginning? Instead of I'll be happy when, it becomes I'm growing as I go. And every win creates space for a new starting point. This doesn't mean that you stop setting goals. It means you redefine what success feels like along the way. You're still setting goals. You still have targets, but you're not chasing some elusive finish line of arrival. And when I get here, then I'll allow myself to feel successful. When I get here, then I'll allow myself to rest. When I get here, when I get to that finish line, then I'll allow myself to experience the joy and the satisfaction and the fulfillment. So to see each new season as a new starting point, and that there really is, it's kind of like balance, right? There is no such thing as balance. You've heard me talk about that on this podcast many times. It's the same thing with the finish line. There is no finish line until you're gone. And as I am in this season with my mother-in-law and helping her finish her life well, and we're talking about, finishing well and what that's going to look like for her. I mean, she doesn't want to die, but how does she want to live? And that's one of the questions that we've been talking about. How do you want to live the days that you have left? You have a new starting point right now, right? She has a new starting point. And as long as we're here on this earth, there is no finish line. They're just new starting points and new opportunities to deepen your faith. That's where she's at right now. A new starting point to maybe even deepen the relationships with family, with friends. A new starting point to grow the capacity to feel bodily pain like she's feeling, and in the midst have peace. So this is a new starting point for her. It's honestly a new starting point for us because we've never navigated this. There is no finish line. And again, this doesn't mean that you're stopped setting goals. It just means that you get to redefine what success feels like along the way. Hey friend, let's talk. It's time to book your clarity call. We are going to spend 1 full hour focused on you. A clarity call isn't about pressure. It's about possibilities. It's about you. You having a space to talk through what's on your heart and mind, you walking away with a clear vision and practical next steps, and you feeling confident in what's next and how to get there. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's my job. All you need to do is show up, and we'll figure it out together. This is the best hour you can invest in yourself right now. Not in 6 months from now, not next month, right now. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what one of my coaching clients had to say after working together.
I honestly cannot say enough positive things about coaching with Martine. From the very first session, I knew this was something different. The deep dive into who I am and why I operate the way I do per the ProScan results has helped me immensely and allowed me to embrace my unique qualities on various levels. I would 1000% recommend hiring her for whatever level of transformation you're looking for.
That transformation, it starts with one conversation. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. So head right now to martinewilliams.com or in the show notes and grab your private clarity call spot on my calendar before they're gone. And since I personally monitor my inbox, if you don't see a time slot that fits your calendar, just send me an email at martine@martinewilliams.com with 3 times that do work, and I will make it work for you. All right, friend, let's get back to the show. So you may have heard me talk about my aligned success method, but how I help my clients make this shift is we uncover, we illuminate, you've heard me talk about that, and uncover their natural strengths and energy style. So they're not running someone else's race. They're running their own, right? And when I say running a race, again, there's no finish line. It's just, there's new starting points. There's new, I'm thinking back to the arcade and the racing arcade games, where you try to make it through that checkpoint, right, at a certain time. And so there's just checkpoints along the way. There's no finish line until you get to the end of your life. And so if that helps you to just calm yourself and stop the hurry. One of my clients, we were talking about the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, allowing you to run your race and run it and feel it as you want to feel without the pressure to hit that finish line, wherever the finish line is. And just realizing this is a new perspective. There's just new starting points for me. I'm never going to arrive as long as I'm alive here on this earth. There's always going to be something for me to learn. And I get to decide the pace. And the way you get to decide the pace is when you uncover your natural strengths and your energy style. That's how you run your race and not someone else's. The second part of that process is cultivating. We clarify what really matters in this season, not the one the world says that you should be chasing or that I should be chasing or what my client should be chasing. We get really clear on what matters in this season. And we build confidence and courage around those priorities. And then the third part is activate. We create a plan so that every step feels like a win and each milestone becomes a launch pad, not a finish line. And this is what makes growth sustainable, because the point isn't to arrive, it's to continue evolving in alignment. And when you allow yourself to have this perspective change and you are able to understand what your priorities are, understanding your strengths in that way, and you kind of have a plan to follow, when you embrace new starting points instead of chasing the finish lines, you celebrate progress instead of criticizing what's left undone and what in comparison and where you're falling short. You feel energized by your goals instead of weighted down by them. I'm never going to get there. I've had that feeling. When is it going to end? And that's just not a helpful thought to think. It's not a way to think about it. It's just there's new starting points, new starting lines, checkpoints along the way. But life is the journey, right? And you stop living in someday and start living more fully in today. You're not in the one day strategy. You've heard me talk about that. One day I'll do this. You're in the today strategy. Today's my day one versus one day. You also will lead your business and life from peace, not pressure. If there's always the pressure and the rush to hit a certain finish line, then you're going to exhaust yourself. But when you realize I'm not going to arrive in life, I'm just going to take milestone by milestone, goal by goal. And each new goal is a new starting point. It's a new starting point to learn. It's a new starting point to grow my capacity. It's a new starting point to embrace the emotions that are going to come along with that. So let me ask you, and this might be a great question for you to ask yourself, what finish line are you chasing right now? What are you believing is a finish line that you're chasing right now? And maybe you've been chasing it for a long time. And I have to remind myself of this as well. Still now, even though I've had this perspective for years, when I feel myself getting into that rush and hurry up and I just want to be there, it steals the joy from where I'm at right now. It really does. So what finish line are you chasing right now? And what if instead of racing to arrive, you saw it as a new starting point? How would you show up differently? How would you show up differently at home? How would you show up differently in your business? How would you show up differently in your relationships? How would you show up differently for yourself? Because that shift, that's where the freedom lives. It really is. And this is what I do. This is what I help clients with. This is what I help women do, women entrepreneurs. It could be one perspective that shifts for you, that changes everything. I've had many of those over my years of entrepreneurship and motherhood and being in coaching programs and having a coach. I've had a coach of some sort over the last almost 2 decades now. And they help me to see things differently. And one shift could completely change how you feel and how you operate and how you show up in the world. So if you want help with that, redefining success in a way that energizes instead of exhausts you, we should talk. My clarity calls are always free. It's 1 hour. It's you and I together. We're going to talk about where you are, where you want to go, how to get you there. And I'm looking for perspectives that maybe you currently have that are not serving you. And you can't see them. That's why they're called blind spots. So, and maybe you'll see some of them, but there will be some that you've said it for so long and you believed it for so long that it feels so true. And I'm able to look at it and say, that's not really true. Or how is that not helpful? So all of this happens on the clarity call. It's really the first step. It's your next step. If you're resonating with what I'm talking about here on the podcast and you've been trying to do things on your own, believe me, if you could have done it alone, you would have already done it. You would. So let's create a rhythm that celebrates the journey, not just the destination. Because again, there's no finish line, only new starting points. And maybe your next starting point is to go to martinewilliams.com/clarity and book a clarity call. I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to talk about where you are and where you want to go and how I can help you get there, or just a plan, to how to get there. So thank you for tuning into the show today. I hope this was helpful for you, and I will catch you on the next episode. Well, that's it, friends, for this remix moment. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me, and I hope that you are feeling inspired and ready to take on whatever comes your way. Remember, even small moments can lead to big changes. If this moment made a difference, be sure to subscribe, share with your fellow moms, and leave me a quick review. Seriously, it means the world to me to hear from you. And until next time, I am believing in you, and I will catch you in the next moment.